Well, I'm kind of moving forward here on my mufflers. I cut that one off and made it up above this. I know it's not a good idea to try to run your steering through a header, but that's the way I did it. And I would just cut a piece here and run it onto here. I've got a big piece of pipe, 2.5 inch, that the regular mufflers are going to be made out of. I'm just going to cut a piece about this long, plasma cut some holes in it here for this, and just tack it together. Hopefully it will be plenty strong. Well, it will be plenty strong, and I can weld it around on the inside. I'll take it off of the motor and I'll weld up all the gaps, but we should have a decent header now. And I could even probably use this old rag joint and stuff and put back in there. I got me a nice polished piece of double D shaft here, so this will all look good. And I got a couple double D, one nice double D U-joint here, and another double D to a spline shaft. I'm not sure that I counted, I think 28 splines, but the thing said 26 splines. I don't know what it is, so one way or the other I'll get that figured out. But anyway, that's what I'm doing, is trying to build a set of headers. Looks like it's got a pretty good oil leak under there somewhere. Anyway, I'll cut another piece and plasma cut out this section here, see what it looks like. That's what I got so far. I started I just split it with a cutoff tool here and knocked them in and started welding it up, and run out of wire, and I just happened to have a roll of 30 thousandths, about half a roll. I need to buy some more, buy 35 thousandths, but this 30 will be good enough. And these rollers, I'm pretty sure that just pops out of there, and got 2 grooves in it. Shows 30 and 35, so put some more of this wire in here and continue welding. Well, here's my result. I just arc welded this all the way around. I don't think I got any leaks in it. Looks pretty decent. I'm probably gonna clean it up a little bit with a flapper disc. Probably not going to bother on any of this back side, but it looks like it's welded pretty decent all the way around. So it shouldn't leak, and it'll go up in here, and well, I'll put it up in there and you can see it. I'm just trying to lift it with one hand. Had to pull the dipstick out down there to get the headers off, and the gaskets are, you can kind of see the black there. I don't think this was the right gasket. Well, I know it's not the right gasket, but looks like it probably wasn't leaking. So I'll put it back on, and The holes weren't straight for the block. You can see a couple of them here are shiny, and they had kind of boogered up the little bolts. This is a good one here, but anyway, I got it off. I don't know, you know, I got this big white thing coming in my video. See if I can put a light. Didn't really change it any. And I did drop this camera and crack the lens, or the lens cover, so that might be what I'm seeing here. But anytime I get out this way, you know, once it adjusts, it's fine. But you get it in at an angle and it kind of makes a bad video. Anyway, I'll get this manifold back on here and we'll have a look at it. I changed these Allen header bolts. They're too hard to get in there and there's lots of room. So I just put some 9/16 inch grade 8 bolts in it, bolted it down. They're a lot stronger than those Allen wrenches. Plenty of room, so that's good and solid. Kind of want to start it, see what it sounds like. I had to take my dipstick out to get the headers off. Yeah, it's pretty funky, but I'll just stick it in here for now, just so it don't leak. But there's headers, you know, they're, considering what they are, they don't look too bad. I'm not real impressed with them, but they shouldn't leak. And they're approximately where they need to go. These, I think I'll just cut them off right at that bend and just use a straight pipe on that. This will be a lot cleaner job than the other side. I don't have to take nothing off. But I assume I can start it. I don't know. Started it the other day, so we'll see. See if I can set you up here with a bit of a video. Hopefully it won't catch fire or explode or something. This is my double D shaft, and it looks like everything's going straight to where it should. Looks like the steering's going to be good.
Okay, that's fine.
Got my shocks. I fooled around with them trying to figure out where I was going to put them. But it looks like this is where I decided. I tried several configurations, but I can put them right there on that radius bar. Bring them up here, and I've got a big heavy 1-inch steel square tube that I can bring up there for the shock mount. And I thought about putting them in at an angle and up and down, and this is the cleanest way. It hides them behind the headlights. I put my suspension bar in there, or whatever you call it, torsion bar. This will be all easy enough to put in. And they've already got a square, 10 bracket here for the radiator mount. And this is an old rake I found, but it's really heavy. It's a 1-inch square. That's pretty thick. I think it's plenty good for a shock mount. Got enough of that so I can put my shocks in. Really all I got left then is my other double D joint and little fabrication. Steering will be done. So went to a buddy of mine's funeral today, so kind of a slow day. Come and got my headers to return them, but brought my little parts over and checked them out. Looks like we'll be moving along on this pretty quick now. Fancy chrome mufflers from Speedway came. One of my ideas was to put these like this. It would be higher, of course, and have it come down here. It looks pretty good. And the other idea was to put them vertically like that. Let me put something under this because they would go up higher. It would be kind of where they go there. And I'm just looking at which one of these look better. In the beginning, I thought, well, that this would be a little too much. I thought about it, and I thought, well, this will look cooler. But now I'm looking at it. I really like that. This looks okay, but this looks so much more, the vertical one. I tend to like that. I've got some U-pipes and joints and stuff, but that looks really good like that, vertical. Yeah, there's not bad look there on the bed either, but it looks more like a truck with that sticking out, and the side, yeah, maybe it was kind of a good idea. It'll have a nice exhaust pipe, but really, whether it was mounted on the inside like that, and where I just stuck it down in the bed, or mount it behind the cab. That would be a much cleaner installation to mount it just like it is. And it I just like that. I'll talk to the owner. I'll do whatever he wants, but I just think that looks much better. We could mount it inside the bed right like it is. And it's not a lot of junk down in here. This is all the way down flush the bed. It'd be easy to drill a hole in this old wood floor here and run the pipes all underneath and up. It'd be a real clean installation. It would leave the military flat look there on the side, and these are pretty big pipes, 5-inch pipes, and yeah, I think they look real good like that. I don't know. You guys leave me a comment. What do you think? You know, side pipes like that or the vertical ones? I kind of really liking the idea of the vertical stuff. And I'm going to get back on this stuff. I didn't get the rest of my Speedway stuff. It's poker day today, so I only got a few hours. What I'm going to do is cut me a few pieces here and start tacking these coil springs on here, and just get this kind of mocked up. Put on my sway bar thing there, and just kind of get this mocked up. The owner went away for the weekend. I got a tunnel ram coming. Actually, you know, they're pricey, $700-800, and we found a used one for a small block Mopar for $300. So he said, and doesn't realize, you know, these carburetors are going to be, I don't think we can use this holly on them. I think they're too long. You have to mount them sideways to put 2 hollies on them because of fuel bowls. So you kind of got to use Edelbrock's. I prefer Edelbrock's anyway, because you can change the jets and stuff without losing all your fuel. So we'll see what's happening, but you know, carburetors are $250-300 each, so he's probably got $600 for carburetors. Going to have linkage is another $50-60. You're going to have an air cleaner. You're going to have $2,000 and a tunnel ram set up. But anyway, at least we've got a tunnel ram coming, and we mocked that all up on this motor. I got some shorty headers for this thing, and of course they wouldn't fit. They're way different, and so the guy wants me to send him a picture. Why won't they fit? Well, it's going to be obvious, so I'll take some pictures here and get that returned on eBay. Says maybe we can replace it with something else. Well, good, yeah, that's what I wanted. But you know, the headers that you sent me not going to fit this block at all. You know, it said 360, but obviously they weren't even close. Anyway, we'll move on with mocking up these springs, and I'll do this one first and cut off that bracket down there and start cleaning up stuff and tack it. Bring in, I welded that 1-inch square tube there on the frame. I just tacked it up there, and I used a head bolt here. We've got some little spacers that'll go in here and make that a little tighter. We can always put a bigger bolt down there, but it's pretty tight. I jacked it up to where the wheel just started coming off the ground, and that's where I determined to put the shock bolt. So when the wheels, or when the frame is all the way up, the shock is loose. It's obviously not loose right now. And I welded these brackets a little better on the sway bar. It's mostly what I'm seeing there is tire, but if we actually jack up the frame, you can see the shock is extending a little and it's coming down, so I think that's good enough. And I've just got those spring mounts perches on the bottom. They're just started in hand tight. I didn't have a tool, so they can be run up another 3 inches. These are 100-pound shocks, so that means another 100 pounds of pressure for every inch. So if we screw that up an inch, that'll take 100 pounds off that one side, and it's definitely controlling that. It looks good from the front. Of course, like I said, I have to put a little more stuff in there. It's just tacked for now, but I would rather have it closer to the axle, you know, but I'm a third of the way back, so it should control the front end pretty good. I mean, if for some reason it don't, we can think about relocating it somewhere else, but for now that looks like the best location. It's plenty strong. We're only getting a few 100 pounds of pressure on this upper shock mount, and it ain't going to tear this bar out of the frame, and it sure won't rip that weld off of this thing here. It might eventually bend it a little, but we do have this 3/4 inch thin square tube there. I can always change that to something else, another 1-inch piece, and we got the actual frame of the radiators bolted all the way around, so that's bracing it plenty good side to side, the radiator itself. And I'll have to make a spacer for this right here, of course, to keep that shock from walking itself in, but I think it's plenty good. A few washers and spacers and that'll be solid in one place. And it's a nice, pretty clean installation. Kind of looks good on the front end. I put the other pipe back here. Yeah, they look good like that. And I just realized, of course, just now that looking at this water can, this has all been cut into the bed. We'd have to change that if we were going to put a muffler on this side. But we won't have to do anything if they're up there like that. So I think this is really looking really nice. Probably raise them up a couple inches because you can only see just the tips of them across the top. And I'd like them sticking up another 6 inches or so you can see the stacks from the front of the car. But they look really good from the side. Maybe it's good that they're down low like that, but it definitely gives it a truck look. And you know, they're 5-inch pipes, so, and they got a glass back inside them, so they should be loud, but not too extremely loud. And good enough. People want to call it a sway bar, not a sway bar, a stabilizer bar. Welded in. I need a little bit more weld in there. This needs to be cleaned up. Shock's all done. Little welding and cleaning. Then I have to fabricate another one for the other side. But basically that front end is done. I'm getting pretty good weld in there. Sure looks like I'm a good welder. At least I'd say that about somebody else. And it's because I got a good welder. This is really crappy rod. It's some Harbor Freight rod. So all I got now is to put this vertical stand in there and assemble the shock. Weld it up. Kind of a short poker day today, so that's all I got done for now. Just moving along. Welded up, polished, painted. I'm gonna have to make me a little spacer here. Hold that off of the frame a little. I'll kind of bounce it up and down a while to let that shock settle, and then wherever it's at, I'll cut a spacer for that, and then I can put a bolt and or a nut and a washer on it. But it looks pretty good. It looks nice from the front. All that's all kind of been cleaned up. It turned out real good. And I'll just go to this one, finish welding it up and paint it. Mr. Steering. It's all in, solid. I need to put a bolt in this one right here, but it's turning real good, real straight. Not out of the line or anything. You can see it there. I'm getting a little raise up and down on the car. And I got the U-joint, or that tie rod end is bad right there. Actually, sounds like it's hitting that muffler right there a little bit. Well, I can dent that. But I think I had 5 3/4 turns in the box, lock to lock. And right now, I've got 5 turns lock to lock in the tires. This tire here is hitting the tie rod on the left turn. But steering is real solid. I need a little adjusting. It's all good. Now I got to pull this wheel off of here and make me a good bracket there for that. You know, that bracket probably isn't too bad if it was braced more. You know, if I was to weld another plate on top of it, I might get away with that one. Save me trying to make a whole new bracket. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull that tie rod end out of there, kind of pound that down flat, and see what I can do about just putting a plate on top of it, or a little piece of angle iron or something to keep it from flexing up and down. That's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to see if I can strengthen in that enough to work, rather than go to all the trouble taking that wheel off and everything else. This will be easy to put a plate on it and weld it in, compared to taking it all apart, trying to make something out of 1/2-inch steel. And they just had a straight hole in here instead of a taper for the tie rod end. The nut was stripped off of it, both ends. So what I did, I just put another nut on it and just welded it to that bracket. And I've got it pretty level here. Like I said, this tie rod end here is stripped as well, but I got a bolt on it that's kind of holding it. And it's, you know, like 1/8 of a turn. It's starting to move the front wheel, but the bracket, if you can see there, is just moving up and down on the wheel. It's not moving the wheel. Looks like I've got a little bit of play here in this. I don't have any of that tightened up either. And it is moving the car up and down just a little bit, but most of my play now is coming from that bracket to the wheel. So I'm just welding this together now like it is, not because that's right. The geometry is pretty much right, but I want to make sure that it's got the right turning and everything else just by welding stuff together. And once I can determine that that's correct, then I'll buy some good Heim joints and make a steering bar there for it. So